In the summer of 1908, a blinding flash lit the skies above a remote corner of Siberia. Seconds later, a thunderous explosion shattered the silence, flattening more than 2,000 square kilometers of forest. Witnesses hundreds of miles away saw a column of fire rise into the atmosphere and felt shock waves that knocked people off their feet. This event, known as the Tunguska explosion, remains the largest impact of its kind in recorded history, yet no one has ever recovered a single fragment of the object that caused it. Over the decades, this mystery has drawn not only scientists, but also soldiers, spies, and governments, each chasing answers and sometimes advantages, hidden in the Siberian wilderness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay updated with our latest videos. The first challenge was geography. The blast occurred near the Podkamennaya Tunguska River, deep in the taiga of central Siberia. In 1908, the region had no roads, no railways, and only scattered settlements of Evenki hunters and Russian trappers. Although the shockwave was felt across Eurasia and even registered on barometers in London, the Russian Empire, still reeling from political unrest and financial strain, sent no immediate expedition. For years, the site remained untouched, guarded only by legends among local tribes who spoke of a fiery god descending from the sky. It was not until 1927, almost 20 years later, that a Soviet scientific team led by mineralogist Leonid Kulik reached the area. What they found defied expectations. Trees lay toppled in a radial pattern stretching for miles, their trunks pointing away from a central zone of devastation. Yet there was no crater, no obvious meteorite fragments, only a marshy epicenter where the ground seemed oddly disturbed. Kulik collected eyewitness accounts of a brilliant blue-white fireball streaking across the morning sky and a shockwave that shattered windows hundreds of kilometers away. The evidence suggested an enormous explosion, equivalent to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT. Yet the usual signs of an impact were missing. As the Soviet Union grew more secretive under Stalin, the Tunguska mystery acquired a political dimension. In an era when cosmic phenomena could be framed as potential weapons or ideological tools, researchers faced pressure to explain the event in purely natural terms while also assessing any military implications. Some officials speculated about a comet or asteroid exploding in the atmosphere, releasing energy without leaving a crater. Others quietly wondered whether the blast hinted at untapped power sources, perhaps even something that could be harnessed for technology or defense. During the Cold War, Tunguska became a focus of both scientific curiosity and geopolitical intrigue. Western researchers followed Soviet publications closely, suspecting that hidden expeditions might be searching for exotic materials, high-density metals, magnetic anomalies, or even clues to antimatter. Declassified Soviet documents later revealed that military teams periodically visited the region, conducting aerial surveys and drilling cores in search of microscopic particles. Officially, these were geological studies, but the secrecy surrounding them fueled speculation that the USSR hoped to discover new energy resources or to better understand the effects of a massive atmospheric blast. Knowledge that could inform nuclear weapons testing. Meanwhile, Soviet and foreign scientists proposed competing explanations. Some favored a stony asteroid about 50 to 60 meters across that disintegrated in the atmosphere, releasing kinetic energy as a mid-air explosion roughly 5 to 10 kilometers above the ground. Others argued for a cometary body whose icy composition would explain the lack of debris. Chemical analysis of tree resin later revealed traces of rare earth elements and microscopic silicate spheres consistent with extraterrestrial material, lending weight to the asteroid theory. Yet no definitive meteorite pieces large enough to silence debate were ever found. The absence of a crater opened the door to wilder ideas. Writers speculated about a small black hole passing through Earth, an antimatter particle annihilation, or even a malfunctioning alien spacecraft. Although mainstream scientists dismiss these hypotheses, they reflect the enduring sense of wonder and suspicion that surrounds the event. In the charged atmosphere of the Cold War, any unexplained explosion was fertile ground for espionage fantasies. American intelligence agencies monitored Soviet fieldwork, while Soviet researchers kept their most detailed findings classified until the late 20th century. Adding to the intrigue were reports of strange biological effects. Local Evenki hunters claimed that after the explosion, reindeer populations declined and strange lights appeared in the night sky. Soviet scientists documented increased growth rates in surviving trees, possibly stimulated by shock-induced nitrogen release in the soil. Some later researchers noted genetic mutations in plants and microorganisms, though these findings remained controversial. To military planners on both sides of the Iron Curtain, such data hinted at environmental consequences relevant to nuclear detonations. Another reason to keep research quiet. In the 1950s and 1960s, as the nuclear arms race intensified, Tunguska became a natural laboratory for understanding large explosions. Soviet physicists compared the tree fall patterns and seismic data to those from atomic bomb tests in Kazakhstan, seeking parallels that might improve bomb design or early warning systems. Western scientists, lacking direct access, analyzed published Soviet papers and debated whether the explosion offered clues to asteroid defense, decades before planetary protection became a formal field. Even after the Cold War ended, expeditions continued. In the 1990s and 2000s, Russian and Italian teams used satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, and chemical analysis to search for traces of the original object. In 2007, researchers announced evidence of silicate and nickel particles embedded in the peat, consistent with a chondritic asteroid. More recently, computer simulations of atmospheric entry have shown that a relatively small asteroid, traveling at about 15 kilometers per second, could indeed explode in mid-air with Tunguska's observed energy, leaving no crater but scattering microscopic debris across the landscape. Yet mystery still clings to the site. Some researchers point to Lake Cheko, a small body of water about 8 kilometers from the epicenter, suggesting it may conceal a buried fragment of the impactor. Sediment cores show unusual layers dating to the early 20th century, but debate continues over whether the lake predates the explosion. Each new study adds data but rarely closes the case, keeping Tunguska alive in both scientific journals and popular imagination. The notion of secret war over Tunguska lies not in gunfire or armies, but in the quiet competition for knowledge. For the Soviet Union, understanding a natural explosion of nuclear scale offered both defensive insight and propaganda value. For Western scientists, penetrating the veil of Soviet secrecy promised clues about asteroid threats and Soviet technological ambitions. In the 21st century, the contest continues in a different form. International teams race to model impact scenarios and develop asteroid deflection strategies, using Tunguska as a real-world benchmark. Today, visitors can travel to the Tunguska Nature Reserve, where regrown forests hide the scars of 1908. Interpretive trails lead to the epicenter, where a small monument marks the spot beneath endless Siberian sky. The silence is striking. Only the wind through the trees hints at the colossal force that once flattened this wilderness. Scientists now classify the event as a large airburst, similar in scale to the 2013 Chelyabinsk meteor, which injured over 1,000 people but likewise left no crater. Tunguska serves as a warning that Earth remains vulnerable to cosmic hazards, and that next time the target could be a major city. The enduring fascination with Tunguska reflects more than scientific curiosity. It is a story of how natural events become entangled with politics, secrecy, and human imagination. The explosion happened decades before the nuclear age, yet it foreshadowed the destructive power humanity would later wield. During the Cold War, it became a proxy battleground, where superpowers sought not gold or territory, but data. Knowledge that could tip the balance of global strategy. Over a century later, the mystery is not completely solved, but the broad outlines are clear. A small asteroid or comet entered Earth's atmosphere at tremendous speed, exploding with the force of a modern nuclear weapon and flattening an immense swath of forest. No invaders, no secret energy source, no hidden spacecraft. Just the raw power of the cosmos reminding humanity of its fragility. And yet, the legend persists because the combination of missing fragments, Soviet secrecy, and the sheer scale of destruction invites endless speculation. As you consider the quiet forests of Tunguska and the unanswered questions that still hover over them, think about what this event tells us about our world. Nature can unleash forces beyond human control, and governments will always race to understand and perhaps exploit such phenomena. The real secret war of Tunguska is the ongoing struggle to predict and prepare for the next cosmic visitor. If this journey into Siberia's greatest mystery captured your imagination, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden dramas of history and science. Do you believe every secret of the Tunguska explosion has been uncovered? Or could the taiga still conceal a fragment of the rock that shook the world?